Now, here's an interesting story for you. In the early days of the pandemic, an unthinkable event happened in the oil market. We remember it really well. The price of WTI crude fell below zero. The sudden drop was explained as a result of multiple macroeconomic factors. We were in the middle of a global pandemic. A story in this week's issue of Business Week, though, tells of a group of traders from Essex, just outside London, who rode the crash to a $660 million profit. Joining us now is Liam Vaughan from Bloomberg's financial investigations team, who was part of the team that wrote this story. Liam, really good to speak to you this morning. Your story focuses then on a trader called Cuddles and his associates. I'm sure he has another name, but tell us more about the role that this group played in an incredible period in history in which oil businesses, oil traders were paying others to take oil off their hands.
Yeah, so Cuddles, real name Paul Commins, is an oil trader from Essex who is part of a kind of group of traders who are all very close friends, all live near each other, all support the same football team, all part of the same sort of social group. And on April 20th, they were, huge participants in the oil market. And due to a confluence of factors, including the way they traded, but also the macroeconomic factors you talked about, they ended up making $660 million between 9 of them over the course of a few hours. Just to sort of put that into perspective, there's one guy who's 22 years old. He made more than 100 million personally in a day. There's 2 other guys that are 25. They both made more than 100 million each. So it really just was this absolutely sort of freak occurrence where a sort of perfect storm of factors came together, and these guys either pulled off, the trade of a lifetime, or, contributed to the collapse of the oil market. That's to be determined.
I mean, yeah, it sounds to me like these guys are absolute legends. But what could the fallout be? I mean, aren't we more likely
Somehow I knew which
prosecute...
side of that debate Matt would come down.
well, no. I mean, Liam, are we more likely to prosecute, a small group of wide boys from Essex when they make this kind of money than we are, reputable Wall Street trading floor when they do pretty much the same thing?
Yeah, I definitely think that that's a fair point. And I think part of the reason they had so much scrutiny on them is because everyone's like, who the hell is VEGA Capital? Who the hell is Cuddles? If it was BP or Goldman, I'm sure that the authorities wouldn't bat an eyelid. And just to be clear, there is investigations, but nobody has accused them yet or may not accuse them of doing anything illegal. But one really interesting thing is that in that crucial half-an-hour period, when the market did collapse, they were by far and away the biggest sellers of WTI futures, which is pretty remarkable if you consider the global nature of the market. The 9 geezers in Essex are basically the market.
Liam, you seem to specialise in finding some smaller operators, I suppose, in the market for all sorts of things. I'm thinking about your other books and your other investigative reporting. I mean, if you found this group in Essex doing this, is this a story that will repeat across various locations, various geographies across the world even?
One of the things that I think is really fascinating about the story is that these guys have been doing this, trading in a similar way for years and years and years and making a very good living out of it. And it's almost like this was the day where suddenly everything came together and they made more money than they could ever have imagined. But also it's the one day that, because all eyes were on oil, suddenly they're under the spotlight. So it's almost like a sort of poison chalice type situation. And I think a lot of people will be watching very closely to see how it plays out.
I just want to see the stuff, that they're going to buy now. I mean, did anybody get a yellow Range Rover, Liam? Are we talking about, like, the most expensive tracksuits anybody's ever seen in Essex?
I mean, there's a guy there who, when he was 17 years old, used to drive around Essex in a convertible Rolls Royce with a personalised number plate. And I don't know, Matt, if you've ever seen the programme The Only Way is Essex. If not, you should definitely Google it.
Not, no.
But anyway, these guys drink at the same bar as the folks from there. So, yeah, I'm sure there's a few, luminous sports cars being ordered as we speak.